Minot man and woman accused of beating her 1.5-year-old son to death have changed their murder plea charges to guilty. Under terms of the plea agreements, the woman, 20-year-old Cassandra Ayala, will serve a 22-year jail sentence, while her 33-year-old boyfriend, Anthony Robinson, will serve a 27-year sentence. However, both could have faced life in prison if they had been convicted of the crime. In February, the state medical examiner determined that Ms. Ayala's son, Conrad, died from blunt head injury, and authorities say the boy was covered from head to foot in bruises. A professional television crew perused the streets of Jamestown today in order to gather material for a segment that will air nationally more than 15 times early next year. Jamestown Mayor Katie Anderson says, quote, "They'll hit all of our main highlights," end quote. The city of Jamestown agreed with Today in America production company to produce a short promotional video for a little under $20,000. The video will air sometime in February on CNN Headline News and Fox Business under a segment hosted by Terry Bradshaw and entitled Today in America. Some sites in Jamestown visited by the crews included McElroy Park, Jamestown High School, Jamestown College, and of course, the world's largest buffalo. North Dakota State Senator Curtis Olafson of Bismarck has been getting attention across the United States for his work to try and curb the nation's rising debt. In consequence of his work with Texas-based Restoring Freedom organization, Senator Olafson has been featured on talk shows in several states, mentioned in Forbes magazine, and participated in a panel at Harvard. Restoring Freedom aims at trying to get state legislatures throughout the United States to support an amendment to the U.S. Constitution that would require an approval from a majority of state legislatures in order for an increase in the federal debt to be enacted. However, in order for the Constitution to be amended, a constitutional convention of 3/4 of the states needs to ratify a proposed amendment. So far, only North Dakota and Louisiana are on board with Senator Olafson's plan, which needs 32 more states in order for the amendment convention to be convened. However, Senator Olafson assures that there are committed sponsors or serious interests in 24 other states.
Today, I can report that, as promised, the rest of our troops in Iraq will come home by the end of the year. After nearly 9 years, America's war in Iraq will be over.
President Barack Obama announced today that the United States will pull all troops out of Iraq by the end of the year. The president made the announcement after having a video conference with Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki. President Obama says the two countries were in full agreement about how to move forward and are entering a new phase. The role of the U.S. military in Iraq has been fairly limited for several years now. Nevertheless, some senior Iraqi officials say in private they would like a U.S. troop presence to keep the peace between Iraqi Arabs and Kurds, who have a dispute over who controls oil-rich areas in northern Iraq. Colonel Muammar al-Gaddafi is dead, but things in Libya still haven't totally quieted down. Yesterday, a cell phone video of Colonel Gaddafi went viral. In the video, the former Libyan dictator is seen on the hood of a truck and then stumbling amid a frenzied crowd, seemingly pleading for mercy while the crowd shouts, "God is great." In later photographs of Colonel Gaddafi's body, his head appears to bear the mark of bullet holes. Libya's interim Prime Minister Mahmoud Jibril says Colonel Gaddafi was wounded but still alive when captured yesterday in Sirte. However, the truck he was placed on was caught in crossfire, and one of the bullets struck Colonel Gaddafi in the head, killing him before they could reach a hospital. However, Prime Minister Jibril's claim doesn't seem to be supported by the many photographs and videos on the internet that show a dead Colonel Gaddafi. Such sites and conflicts prompted the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights to call for an inquiry into Colonel Gaddafi's death. The commissioner's spokesman, Rupert Colville, said, quote, "We believe there is a need for investigation to see whether he was killed in fighting or some form of execution," end quote. Mr. Colville also added that clarity was needed due to videos showing Colonel Gaddafi first alive and then dead, and that it's imperative Libya's new rulers do everything possible to calm the situation. Meanwhile, back in Libya, officials are debating when and where to bury Colonel Gaddafi. Initially, Libya's Transitional National Council said Colonel Gaddafi would be buried today in accordance with Islamic law, which generally requires a burial within 24 hours. However, the location of the grave hadn't been determined, and coupled with the UN's investigation, it is unclear when Colonel Gaddafi will be buried. And now here with the weather is Jessica Gulseth. Jessica?
Thanks, Matthew. If you like snow, then here's good news for you. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration announced their forecast for the Northern Plains region yesterday. NAOAA's winter outlook says there's a greater than 40% chance of colder than normal temperatures across North Dakota during November, December, and January. The forecast also says there's between a 40% to 50% chance this winter will be wetter than normal. And it appears that little of that moisture will head to the southern United States, which is where they need most moisture. Today we reached a high of 60 degrees here in Jamestown, which was warmer in comparison to the weather earlier in the week. Tonight will be slightly cloudy with a high of 34 degrees, and these clouds will stick around and bring showers into the weekend. Saturday will be nearly 61 degrees, but there's a chance of showers sometime after 1 tomorrow afternoon on into the night. So, as you head to Greeno Field tomorrow, dressed in orange and ready to cheer the Jimmies on, you may want to grab an umbrella to keep yourself covered. And Sunday will give us a short break from the rain, as it will be mostly clear with highs in the upper 50s. Monday, only a few degrees cooler than Sunday, will have highs in the mid-50s. And again, we may see some showers both Monday and Tuesday. Next week may start off a little wet, but we live in North Dakota, so I think we can handle it. It's Friday, Jamestown. Kick off the heels, put those boots in the closet, and close your books.
Thanks, Jessica. The Jimmy men's and women's cross-country teams are heading to Yankton, South Dakota tomorrow to compete in the Graphic Edge Invitational. The meet begins at 10 a.m. for both the men and women. The Jimmy football team is hosting Valley City State University tomorrow. The Jimmies are looking to avenge a loss they suffered at the hands of the Vikings earlier this month. The game starts at 1 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. The Jimmy men's soccer team took an early weekend to travel to Iowa today. Tomorrow, the men play St. Ambrose University. Then on Sunday, the Jimmy men's and women's soccer teams are heading up to La Crosse, Wisconsin to take on Viterbo University. The Jimmy men are currently 7-6 and on the edge of a playoff berth, so the matches tomorrow and Sunday both have significant meaning. Jimmy volleyball had their first day of tournament games today at the Grand View Tournament in Des Moines, Iowa. This afternoon, the Jimmies had matches against Columbia College and Grand View University, both of whom have been nationally ranked this season. Tomorrow, day 2 of the tournament, the Jimmies have matches against Peru State College and Graceland University. The Jimmy women's wrestling team competed in their first duel of the season today. The Jimmies headed to Forest City, Iowa to compete in the Waldorf duel. Be sure to tune in to JCTV on Monday for all the scores and stats from all Jimmy athletic events this weekend. Well, thank you for tuning in today. At JCTV, it's always our pleasure to connect the campus with the community. And for the latest news, log on to our website at www.jccollegiate.com. I'm Matthew Nies in Jamestown.